Hello, universe. Welcome to Our World. And the reason we call it Our World is because today's video features the viewer and our audience. As promised, I've just came back from not just an Angelina Jordan concert, but a world tour, a whole world tour. And I have good news and bad news. The bad news is we're not going to hear very much Angelina Jordan music today, because there are many other people who've captured the music much better than I can. But the good news is we've tried to capture the atmosphere. We've tried to give you the feeling of what it's like to have been there, because there are thousands and thousands of people all over the world who wish they could go. So this is your virtual ticket to the Angelina Jordan concert to soak up the atmosphere. Mary Zamani, Angelina's grandmother, has a very famous painting featuring ladders going up to heaven. And in the top there are rows and rows of angels. But these angels have no face and they have no name. But angels are also what Angelina Jordan's fans are called. And in today's video, we will try and give these angels a face, and we will try and give them a name. And as a special bonus, in Norway, I have met my friend Pontus for the first time. And today's video is only featuring the Kongsberg Jazz performance on the 7th of July. The performance from the 10th of July in Sandefjord is for another video, maybe in a couple of weeks. We start with some special angels who have special stories. First, we start with Tom Collins, who comes from the west coast of America. So Tom, you've come from Alaska?
Well, that's home, but we moved out. We came out from Washington State.
That's almost near Alaska.
Yeah, very close.
It's amazing how people are coming from 4,000 or 6,000 miles away. That alone is just a statement about Angelina Jordan.
It is, yes.
Yeah. How long have you been a fan of Angelina?
Last fall.
Okay,
Last
so
year.
Relatively recent.
The wife just found her bouncing around on YouTube.
Yeah, that's exactly how I found it. I found it totally unexpected.
Yeah.
It's changed my life. It's been a hobby like I've never had a hobby like this before.
Yeah. My grandson just turned 13 in June on the 11th, and at first he didn't really care much for listening to Angelina Jordan, but we kind of, we played all the time, so he hears it and he's starting to actually enjoy it. And he said he found her on his radio station a few times. And then my wife told me, he said, when you want to bring a girl home now, she's going to be interested in girls. He said, Angelina's the type of girl you need. And he goes, well, how old is she? And I said, she's 16. Well, 3 years isn't too older for me, is it? And I said, well, it might be, at 16 and 13, that 3 years is a lot of years. He said, but still, it's only 3 years. It'll be okay if I want it. So it was a really cute little thing. My wife last year ran across Angelina by accident on YouTube. She was watching some other music and found her. And then a short time later, she told me I really needed to listen to this young girl she'd found on YouTube. And after a little bit, she convinced me I should listen. And kind of a history after that, because I fell in love with her voice really quickly. And then shortly after that, I introduced it to my mom, and she just loved the old jazz music. But unfortunately, just a few months later, in February of this year, she had a stroke, and about 4 or 5 days later, she passed. But it was actually 5 days later. But the last 2 songs they played for her before she passed away, and she was still able to hear but not speak, was Always on My Mind, and then Million Miles. And she lasted about 2 hours till she passed away. My mom just loved her music, and we sat and listened to her. We watched her Christmas music, the Christmas concert live, and then we watched it probably about 10, 12 times shortly after that, just over and over again. A bunch of us would sit in the room and just watch it. We had a great time, and Mom just loved, Mom loved her music, and it was just a nice way to send her off.
It's a wonderful story of music as medicine and music as a universal comfort.
The thing about it, with listening to Angelina is, even especially during this time afterwards, but I can listen to her no matter how bad things are, and just go to bed in peace.
I'm very pleased to hear the story, and so are all the other Angelina Jordan fans.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you passing Jordans on.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we hear from Frud Stockseth, who tells us his story And then he has a moment where it is a heart from the heart. And you are Frud
Frode Stokseth from Trondheim here in Norway.
So how long have you been a fan of Angelina?
Ever since she was on Norway Got Talent.
Okay.
So I happened to see, I don't see much TV, but I happened to see that. And I was overwhelmed.
And did you lose track of her after she moved to California, or you've been following her the whole time?
I didn't follow all that tight to begin with, but it has become more and more. All released music and also reactions.
Musically, the way she's growing, it's almost like how she's growing physically. She's just completely changing and transforming in terms musically and talent-wise and with her voice. And it's almost like watching a flower open within an hour or two.
Yes.
It's amazing how she is blossoming.
Yeah. Even over short time spans. For example, between the recording with the Forsvarets Statsmusikkorps, it's a man's world, for example.
Yeah.
Just the difference from the recording to the release concert. The recording was more sophisticated, and she went only into the next highest gear.
Yeah.
So, but on the release concert, gave it all. It was more inspiration and little less sophistication.
It's so interesting because some songs that she can do 5 or 10 times, it's 98% similar, but other songs she will do a completely different version.
Yes.
There may be a 3 or 4 year gap. And if she was standing here, I would be asking her about that because
Yes.
how does she make that choice of if and when and how to change it?
Yeah.
Because that it's fascinating for us. But to get inside the mind of a musician and what she experiences and how she decides, that's just amazing.
That's really amazing. I observe the same things. The recordings performance is always different. Sometimes only a little, sometimes a lot.
But she's amazingly good live. She has so much talent that she is so consistently similar, whether she's live in the studio or anything. She's very consistent.
Yes. So I noticed the same thing. In the studio, you don't get, she doesn't quite put the same heart and soul into it. She's more conscious of all the details and everything. So, but when it's live, then it's the magic that happens between her, the musicians, and the audience. It's always next level compared to the...
Because last week in Sandefjord, when she was singing the last song, she had happy tears.
Yes.
It's wonderful to have. I wish I had a job where I had happy tears. It's wonderful to meet you and talk. Fruit, what do you have in your right hand?
It's a gift for you. It's like the one I have. When I saw it, I thought immediately that was a perfect thing for an Angelina fan, and for go to an Angelina concert, meet other fans, because you know whose name means little angel, who has a really big heart, and who put her heart in her art, and stretches out her heart through her music and touches our hearts. So she reaches in just into not into our musical minds with admiration for her talent and her skills. She reaches out with her emotions, her heart, her soul, and touches our heart and soul too. So I couldn't resist it as an Angelina buy one for myself. And about a few extra, I think Alan, who has done so much for other fans, I'll give one of these to him for free. Nice, shining, gold-plated little angel in the heart.
Thank you, Frud. I appreciate this very much. It's very kind of you. And then we have a story around a specific song. The song is Million Miles. First, we hear the post reaction from Glenn Morris from Yorkshire in England.
I got quite emotional during Million Miles.
Join the club.
Which I didn't last week, Friday. Me and Val were watching in Sandefjord. But today I just felt, I don't know, the emotion was even stronger.
Then we hear the reaction from Chris Walk, a big Angie fan from Hawaii.
Pretty quickly when she was singing Million Miles, I started crying because one thing I thought about that song, the studio version, I felt like it had been sped up a little, like to sound more poppy. I really liked how she slowed it down. It just made the emotional impact even greater.
And then we hear big Angie fan talking to someone who looks familiar, but I didn't quite catch his name.
Million Miles, the way she slowed it down, that got me the tears rolling.
Yeah, that for me was a highlight. Because it's an emotional song all the time under every circumstance, but she made it more, how can you make that song more emotional? She did. Now let's hear the song and the performance that they're all talking about. And the reactions we heard before actually hearing the song are nothing compared to the reaction we're about to hear. This is a different level of impact and a different level of healing from this song than what we've heard before. Before they were only words, but now this is really healing what we hear.
I discovered Angelina's music when I was like a little bit older, because I make the other music like, I don't like it because it didn't grab me as much as I was thinking about. But then Angelina came out with the song Million Miles, and that was the thing, the song that I really wanted to talk about, because I lost my father when I was 13 and he was only 37. And I was writing a comment to Angelina because of the story, and because he was like Superman to me. A couple of years ago he had like 10,000 volts in his body because he worked with electrics. And the people in the hospital said he was Superman because he survived it. And when he got that cancer, I was thinking, okay, it's a sickness, but he will survive. But of course, he got one of the really, really ugly ones, and of course, he died. I was sad, I was crying, I was really trying to grasp what is happening, but I really didn't understand it because it was like a fairy tale, like a movie or something not real. And then I heard Angelina's Million Miles. And it sounds like something she wrote for me. She talked to me, she like saying, it's okay, you're not alone. It's okay to cry, it's okay to feel that he is far, far away, but in your heart he is here. And you can bring his memories, you can bring everything further away. And I think that's why it was so beautiful. And I remember when she really belts out at the end, I felt like a primal scream from someone reaching her grandpa, like she did. And I felt like I want to reach my papa, you know, my daddy. And that was so powerful, I just cried for days. And I really want to thank her for that, because that means the world to me.
Thank you, Kent. That was like poetry, is what you just said. That was great. Thank you. And Danilo from Rome has quite a story with a very happy ending. So sometimes, if you wish hard enough, sometimes your dreams can come true.
It all started with the AGT video.
Yeah.
But what was that, 2.5, 3 years ago? Ever since I saw that video, because I was, joking on YouTube, playing videos, watching. I watch Angelina almost every day on YouTube, okay? I spend I'm retired, so I got all the time in the world. Couldn't be any better. And I've heard many reactors saying things like, for example, hey, when I first heard that song from the original singer, I really didn't quite get the meaning of the text, of the lyrics. But after listening to the Angelina's cover of the same song, finally the full, deep meaning of each single word she sang hit me in the heart and the soul. I'm closing. And that happened to me. The best example for me of this argument, of this issue, is Billie Jean. Billie Jean, when you watch the Billie Jean video by Michael Jackson, you get distracted by all the antics he does, all the dance moves, And I remember clearly one guy saying, "Oh, Billie Jean, now I understand what it means." Because Angelina she didn't just sing Billie Jean, she told us Billie Jean's story. I'm finished.
No. That suggestion about Angelina Jordan as a storyteller, someone wrote to me only maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago exactly with that suggestion, and I actually phoned up and we had a conversation. The problem for me is I don't know how to illustrate that thread. I don't know.
I'm sure you'll come up with something.
Thank you.
I'm sure if you put your head to it, between you and Pontus, I'm sure you'll come up with something. And whenever you throw it on the YouTube, on the web, I'll be the first one to watch it. Because it's, as I said, it's a characteristic that's very dear to me. I love this side of Angelina, beside all the everything else. We know she's the top of the top of the top. You remember when we did the interview before the show? You asked me what I was expecting from the show, and I told you most logical things. And then remember, I came to you after the interview and told you, I'm stupid because I forgot to tell you the most important thing. My dream, my biggest hope is to get a personal autograph on Angelina's book by her. And I did it. I got involved, Mrs. Sarah Astar, which was marvelously kind, because I asked her, so, Mrs. Astar, could I please so-and-so, have the autograph? And she told me right after the show. after the show's finished. So I waited, and then I got one of the personnel, one of the the entourage, and I told him, you see, Mrs. Astor said so and so.
Robert Carlson from St. Louis had a chat with us before the concert and after the concert. So you're Bob Carlson.
Yes, from St. Louis, Missouri, United States.
How long have you been a fan of Angelina Jordan?
I first encountered her on YouTube in 2014 when she sang on Norway's Got Talent, and I've been a fan ever since. I'm a former high school instrumental music director and jazz musician, so
wow.
She just captured my heart.
She's right in your wheelhouse. She's touched you professionally as well as emotionally.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. So maybe it's something you can teach at school. You can teach what makes Angelina Jordan so special.
Well, I'm retired now, but I'd be glad to tell anybody that wants to know.
Well, if you were still teaching and you were trying to explain what makes her special, where would you begin?
I would start with the fact that she's a prodigy. During my teaching career, I probably had 2, maybe 3 students who I would have considered prodigies. I mean, they were amazing performers on their instruments and everything, but they were nowhere near Angelina. So.
We don't have to understand what she does or how she does it, but what she does is beyond words, and she just goes straight to our heart. I'm just so surprised that what she does is so unique, and no one else has really been in that direction before.
Right. Well, it's like the judge on Norway's Got Talent said, don't think, just sing.
It's true, actually. It's true.
One thing I just did, I went to the gate for the backstage entrance, and I brought a pair of children's shoes.
Wow.
And somebody at the gate took the shoes. Tonight's were pink shoes. Sundays are going to be blue shoes, but they were little children's shoes. And the lady at the gate said, I'll give these to Angelina. She said, does she know you? I said, no, there's no way in the world that she knows me. But she goes, what's your name? So I just said, I'd tell her Bob.
Well, the symbolism of giving children's shoes to Angelina Jordan, the symbolism will not be lost on her.
Oh, absolutely. She lives that.
Yeah, no, she does. So that's a wonderful symbolic gift to give to the girl who has everything.
Right, yeah.
Thank you, Robert. It's been nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Robert, we meet again.
Again.
Have you recovered from the concert yesterday?
No, I don't think I ever will.
Are you going to have to recover from Sunday's concert as well?
Well, I'll add that to the list of never will.
Okay, it was quite a phenomenal concert.
We've listened to her videos and those of reactors thousands and thousands and thousands of times. But hearing her in person is just, I kid you not, it's an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, it really was. It's hard to imagine that someone can be that good live because, the imperfections don't enter into it.
Right.
There might be little hesitant moments with the musicians, but otherwise it really, really flows. And then we meet some people before the concert. Dennis came all the way from Wisconsin, and he had some wonderful lines in his interview. Is she really that good? Am I really hearing what I think I'm hearing? Hi, Dennis. How far have you come?
Wisconsin. I might be the only Angelina Jordan fan in Madison, where I live. She's just been an amazing interpreter of music, and I think that's the best thing about her is that she's such respect for the music of tradition. For me, it seems like, and I'm a person that really didn't know anything about music when I got involved with her, but she really opened up this whole area of singing and music. And then through people like yourself on YouTube and others, reading and learning, because at first for many months I thought, is she really that good? Am I really hearing what I think I'm hearing? Because I really had no parameters. She's a real thing, and I think she's got great respect. And it seems to me that she's been going through the history of music and finding those that have established the traditions. And I think when that all gets done, it'll be just an amazing thing to see what she ends up producing from all that.
Yeah. That's a great question, Dennis. Is she really that good? That question is sort of like one of our first reactions the first time we hear it. Is she really that good? And we have to like pinch ourselves over many years. Is she really that good?
She's still got years to go before necessarily she really finds herself and expresses who she really is. And I can't wait to see what that is.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we all live to be 100 years old.
Well, we may have to be, but and I think it's wonderful that she got the deal with Republic, but they seem to be giving her the opportunity to be creative still, and not promoting her to the point where she'd be a great moneymaker. She's got all that potential, but I think all her fans want her to be herself and be able to develop. And
it's a very good deal because it gives her a lot of freedom. Dennis, enjoy yourself tonight, and we'll see you later. And Geert Westblad, who comes from the middle of Norway, gives us a very happy interview where he says she's too young and too good. So you are Gert.
Yes.
And you've driven 1,000 miles to come here.
Yes, I have.
From the north of Norway.
Yeah, from Lofoten Island.
Did you know about Angelina Jordan from NGT from 8 years ago?
Yes, I did, but then we all lost track of her some way, but then I got retired and I had some more spare time, and I just picked up my phone and on YouTube one day I saw this little kid. I thought I remembered her and started to listen to her, and this was like that. I got hooked, and I use all my spare time listening to her.
Me too, we have something in common.
Long cold winters. It has been an awful winter up north this winter, so I basically stayed inside and watched YouTube and so on.
She, in English we say she's the gift that keeps on giving. It's not like the battery runs out and then you lose interest.
And that's very peculiar, because I have had favorite artists before, and I have the records, but they are stacked away on the shelf, and I've never picked them up again. So it was that one record, and that's it. Well, of course, in my younger days, I had Beatles for quite a long time, but but none like Angelina. There's something special about her, and I can't explain what it is. Perhaps because I've become a grandfather myself, I love to see her grow up and become a beautiful young lady. I guess it's something with that too.
Yeah, it brings out the grandfather instinct in us.
Yeah, I guess it does.
We want to make sure she's all right and she's safe, and she has enough variety of clothing to wear.
Yes, and I said if they don't treat her well over there, I'll come and fetch her, bring her back home.
Well, I think in her heart of hearts, she probably still feels more Norwegian than she does Californian.
Yes, I guess she does. And I've seen some glimpses from the Kurbadenhagen concert, and well, she looked very happy to be back.
Yeah, very happy.
But I haven't watched the videos because I'm going to Kurbadenhagen.
Okay, because a few years ago she did a song which was a tribute to her home city of Oslo.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that she will do a song called Los Angeles.
No,
it will not be the same.
I noticed in that song they mixed up very much from all over Norway, not only Oslo, because I couldn't recognize much from Oslo in that song. We don't have much of the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Light, and we don't have reindeers in Oslo, and not fjords.
Well, maybe she was squeezing all the Norwegian stereotypes into the song.
But she did.
It's a beautiful, moody song, and it's very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
We want her to do the old songs, we wanted to do new songs, we wanted to do original songs.
Everything, actually.
Anything and everything.
Yeah. There's something about her voice that keeps it interesting to listen to her.
Yeah.
I have always called her my little jukebox.
That's because she covers so many genres, so I never get bored.
Yeah,
I can go back and listen to an old song again. And,
well, you've come 1,000 miles. I've come 3,000 miles. Chris Walker has come 8,000 miles.
Yes.
So this is a pilgrimage here.
Yeah, you could call it that.
This is a pilgrimage. Yeah.
My wife bought me my ticket, and but that's it. And well, she wished me good luck.
Is she here too?
No.
Okay.
She's back home.
Okay.
She's not that interested. And my children aren't either. So,
I know.
So I say I don't have any children anymore and no friends.
No, none of my children have any interest in what I do about that. None of them. No.
I think they have to grow into her, and she has to become more of an adult person before they recognize her. I think that's the problem. Perhaps she's been too young and too good.
Too young and too good. Well, it's unusual to call that a problem, but
yeah.
she was too young, and she was too good and too young at the same time.
Yeah.
Jarl Hansen also speaks to us from Norway. And what is your name?
Kjell Otto Hansen.
There's so many people who have made pilgrimages from thousands and thousands of miles away. Did you first discover Angelina 8 years ago for NGT?
Yeah, I saw her at the Norwegian Got Talent when she won, when she was 8 years, but then she disappeared for me.
Yes.
I wasn't a big YouTuber, watch on YouTube, but then I saw her at America's Got Talent, the champions, and then I was sold.
If you have children of your own, when they go from being 7 years old to 14, it's almost like a different species.
Yeah.
And in a way, if you have a 5 or 6 year gap where you don't see Angelina Jordan, it's frightening how much she has improved.
You feel like a granddad for her almost.
Exactly.
I think many of us do that.
Exactly, yeah.
And
I know.
she's just fantastic.
You know, Angelina Jordan is to Norway what Roger Federer is to Switzerland.
Yeah.
She gives the whole country a wonderful name, and she should be like, to be Norwegian, if you look at Angelina Jordan, she's such a wonderful advertisement for being Norwegian.
And I've been to USA once, and when they wondered where we came from, and when you say you were Norwegian, you were very well welcomed.
Yeah. But all the Norwegians historically and the Swedish, they've all gone to the Midwest, Minnesota and Wisconsin, where it's nice and cold, which can remind them of the country where they left.
Yeah. It's a lot of Norwegian
I know.
in that area.
She is unbelievably consistent, even live.
I have to shake my head when I listen to her.
Yeah, I know. My brains are rattled. I've shaken my head so much.
Try to be quite a tough guy, but when she sings some of her songs,
I know.
It's quite hard.
She has made it okay for grown men to cry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah.
And something I could not have anticipated in a million years. Phil from Boston has a case of mistaken identity. So Phil,
yes.
Welcome to Kongsberg.
Well, thank you.
You've come a long way.
Well, from Boston, yeah. Not as far as you though. Yeah.
No, I've only come from Bristol in England.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so not as far.
Okay.
You make me smile because of everything that I expected might happen. I did not expect a case of mistaken identity where you thought I was Chris Walker and a big Angie fan.
Yeah.
And then we have some meeting ups in the queue while we're waiting to enter. This is John Samuel from the East Coast of America. Hello, John. Nice to meet you.
Well, so nice to meet you here, and I'm glad I recognized you from all your wonderful YouTube videos.
You've come from far away, haven't you?
I have. I've come from Florida.
Apparently, you're a bit of an Angelina Jordan fan.
I would say so. She is definitely my favorite vocalist.
When did you first discover her?
I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago. And I've seen everything she's done, or at least I think I have. And every once in a while, someone surprises me with coming up with some backstage interview or something that I've not seen.
Did you hear our concert from last week?
I have listened to one or two pieces, but I didn't want to spoil it to listen to too many.
Okay.
So I want to be surprised.
Even if you hear the same thing over again, you're still surprised, because that's the she is the gift that keeps on giving.
That indeed.
Well, Don, it's nice to talk to you, and I hope you enjoy the concert as much as everyone else does.
Thank you. I know I will.
And Philip Gotthelf from New Jersey also has some interesting stories. Philip.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I can't complain. It's a gorgeous day here in Kongsberg, where we're all going to enjoy seeing a live performance by Angelina Jordan.
Yeah, it's a bit of a queue.
It is, but I understand that the venue is rather large, so we'll all get an opportunity to be up close and personal.
Good. And how long have you been a fan for?
I'm not sure. I think a friend of mine introduced me to her 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm a nubile, and most impressed by her 9-year-old performance of I Put a Spell on You, and that prompted me to go to see other things, and now I'm going to watch a 16-year-old perform like a adult professional. So I think she has 17 planned for tonight, and among them possibly 1 or 2 from her new album that we haven't heard yet.
Well, the album's being released next year.
Oh wow, that's a long way off.
Yeah, she did 2 new songs last week, which no one's heard before. She did These Boots Are Made for Walking by Nancy Sinatra, and she also did a Lady Gaga song, Bad Romance.
Bad Romance, yes, I heard that. But the Boots Were Made for Walking, I understand, was inspired by her very brief appearance during her Christmas concert.
Okay.
And she was so intrigued by the bass line that she decided to do her own arrangement.
Yeah, because the bass player at the Christmas concert, Chuck, he was the one who originated that bass line.
And I'm assuming you saw the Christmas concert?
Yes, I did.
I heard that she likes to play small venues. There's a wonderful jazz venue in North New Jersey called 76 House, allegedly the oldest pub in the United States, allegedly.
Okay.
And they have music every night.
Well, all I can say is if she likes small venues, I can recommend a lot of different pubs in Bristol in England where I live.
And she seems to have a huge following in Brazil.
Wow!
That's one of her largest fan bases.
That I did not know.
It's stunning. They're all waiting for her to sing Girl from Ipanema. So I'm sure she's capable of that.
Yeah, because to go from jazz to bossa nova is not a huge leap.
No, not at all. Not for her, especially that particular kind of song. After her performance in My Funny Valentine, I shudder to think what she'll do with a song of that nature.
Yeah, I know. Well, I shudder to think what she will do in 2 years' time.
And if she ever needs other accompaniment, I play guitar too. I don't have these 3 long nails for nothing.
There are hundreds and hundreds of songwriters.
Oh my gosh!
Waiting for her to
pick up one of her tunes. Yeah.
Phil, it's nice to talk. And then we have some footage from during the concert. I met a couple of Norwegian gentlemen who have matching shirts. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
You have matching shirts, I see.
Yes, we decided to make some similar shirts because we couldn't get the Angelina shirt from her shop in time for this concert, so I had to make it myself.
And I tried to capture the atmosphere of the crowd during the music when Angelina sings Mercy. And she gives a spectacular performance of Suspicious Mind, which we need to hear a little bit of just to realize what we're all talking about.
Don't let a good thing die when, honey, you know I've never lied. It's all your caught in a trap. I can't walk out Why can't you see what you're doing to me? When you don't believe on what I say, we can go on together with suspicious minds.
And after the concert, we speak to Glenn Morris again. Well, why don't we talk about Angelina Jordan?
Well, that's probably one of the best things to ever talk about.
Okay.
What a concert we've just witnessed.
What a concert. Yeah, I don't know how or why, but I completely agree with you. And I've been trying to analyze why for 2 years, and I've given up analyzing why.
I don't think there's no answer. There's how, why. It's incredible, and especially it's easy to forget how young she still is. You look at her on stage, an elegant young woman. I forget that she's only 16. I was fortunate enough to speak to her mother earlier, and she is so grateful to all the Angelina fans around the world. And I believe next year is going to be some interesting stuff happening.
And we speak to Chris Walker, big Angie fan again.
Chris Walker, all the way from Hawaii. I don't think anyone has come further than you have. We all had a bit of a pilgrimage to get here, but I think yours is the biggest pilgrimage. So you've lived up to your name.
Yeah, definitely.
And the concert blew you away as much as everyone else, didn't it?
Right, well, I was looking for mistakes, and there were no mistakes. And on top of there not being any mistakes, it was just brilliant run after brilliant run, and just so emotionally packed.
I didn't think it was possible for it to be more emotional, but it's her baby.
Yeah.
It's her song, and she conceived it. She knows what to do with it, and she can squeeze it and shape it in any way that she wants. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Thank you, Chris. It's people like you who keep the Angelina world going.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Remember a few minutes ago when we met Frud Struxith, and there was a moment, a heart from the heart, where he very generously gave us a gift? Well, that moment was repeated over and over again. A woman came up to me and gave me a selection of chocolates. And I met an American doctor from the west coast of California who insisted on paying for my meals and much more. And we actually became very good friends. And when I visited Adrian in Geneva, he collected me from the airport and treated me for lunch. And when I met Morten, he asked me how I was getting back to Oslo, and he wound up driving us to the airport. So it's the generosity of spirit within the Angelina Jordan community, which is so outstanding and so spectacular. And Angelina Jordan encourages it with very simple words. Just be kind to each other. But on the ground, it's very real. And the generosity of spirit is a very good thing to highlight at the end of this video. Okay, gang, to be continued with the world of Angelina Jordan.